2, 1. Man, this final month of the season has everything. It's got a big dumper. It's got one of the closest Cy Young races I've ever seen. And it has a wild, wild west. And I, for one, am looking forward to it 100%. Welcome to The Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva. And on today's episode, I'm going to give you 5 storylines, questions, things to really watch for here in the final month of the regular season in the MLB. Because some of these things might surprise you a little bit. And there are tons of juicy storylines to follow. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network. My Dodgers are World Series champions. Anthony's Thunder are NBA champions. Phil's Lakers got Luka Doncic. And Zach's Cowboys got Kenny Clark. Subscribing to the Run the Play Network brings success to your team. Or you can always not subscribe and risk it. But I wouldn't take that chance. Now, the first one we're going to start with here, to me, is the most interesting. It's kind of fun because it is unanimously agreed. I shouldn't say unanimous. Paul Skeens has been phenomenal this year. But it's really Paul Skeens or Tarek Skubal for best pitcher in baseball. So surely Skubal should be running away with the AL Cy Young. But that's not necessarily the case here because on the year, Skubal started 27 games, thrown 173 innings with a 2.18 ERA, a 191 ERA+, a whip of .87, 6.5 hits per nine, 216 strikeouts, good for 11.2 strikeouts per nine, 1.4 walks per nine, zero point 0.8 home runs per nine, and 2.29 FIP. By the way, the home runs per nine and hits per nine, only two stats Skubal does not lead the American League in. So he has been dominant this year. So surely, why talk about this? He has the AL Cy Young locked up, right? No, actually. Because Garrett Crochet, I called one right in the preseason for once. Thank God. Has been an absolute dog this year. He is right there, neck and neck with Tarek Skubal. You think I'm kidding? Here's his stats. He's started 27 games this year as well. 172 in a third innings pitch. He has only gotten 2 fewer outs than Skubal. He has managed to put up a 2.40 ERA, good for a 178 ERA+, 1.06 whip, 7.4 hits per nine, 214 strikeouts. That's right, he is 2 strikeouts behind Skubal, which matches Skubal's 11.2 strikeouts per nine, 2.2 walks per nine, zero point 0.8 home runs per nine, and a 2.63 FIP. Yes, this right is somehow, against all odds, is actually incredibly close here. And just going over it, it is Skubal. He has a good schedule, a more favorable schedule than Crochet, but do not count out Crochet here, because one bad start from Skubal, and if Crochet continues to pitch like this, oh man, would this be a fun conversation to have. Who am I voting for? I'm obviously voting for Skubal here. Because if you go under the hood with a lot of the stats on Fangraphs, Stuff Plus, they're roughly comparable. 133 for Skubal, 131 for Crochet. Pitching Plus, however, way favors Skubal. It's a 141 pitching plus as opposed to the 124 Crochet has. And really, I don't want to say Garrett Crochet cannot command his pitches. He has great command. I mean, you do not do what he's doing this year with, just average or even mediocre command. No. He has good command. The problem is, Skubal has elite command while attacking the strike zone. That's why, if you look at his location plus, 111 is phenomenal, especially when you pair it with a 133 Stuff Plus. Garrett Crochet has a 99. That's good. Yes, it's technically below average, but he is a fantastic pitcher. So really, any chance you get, tune into either one of these guys' starts here because not only are they phenomenal pitchers, they are probably going to finish at least in the top 10 of MVP voting each. It's a completely unique Cy Young race here with a guy very clearly head and shoulders above most pitchers in the league and a guy who's right here, almost there. He could catch him if he slips. So definitely keep an eye out on those two. And if you feel confident watching Tarek Skubal pitch, you think he's going to carve up a very anemic White Sox lineup here, let's be honest, you might want to place a bet on it. I'd take an over on Skubal versus the White Sox. And you could do that today with our sponsor, Boom Fantasy. Use code RTP to get a risk-free bet up to $100. And do not forget, this is very important, guys, gamble responsibly. take care of yourselves, and win lots of money. Now, the second one is, let's do a package deal here, because I did say we have a wild, wild west. And yeah, it's wild, both in the American League and the National League. I mean, you see the hat, you see the Bueller. We have to talk about the National League first, and my beloved defending World Series champion, Los Angeles Dodgers here. They somehow are in a dogfight with the San Diego Padres for the division. You would think I was a crazy person if I said this to begin the year with, the greatest team of all time talks surrounding this Dodgers team. They're not even the greatest team in the National League. They're not even the second best. They're the third best record-wise. So they have to catch Philadelphia, and they have to stave off the Padres, who, by the way, have the easiest remaining schedule in baseball. Luckily, the Dodgers have the fifth easiest remaining schedule in baseball and are on a very, very important stretch where they play 12 straight games against teams under 500. They have to capitalize. Going into September, they have a 2-game lead over the Padres, and that lead is by the slimmest of margins here. Shout out Will Smith. It would have been a 1-game lead without you. So looking at it, what are the strengths and weaknesses of this team? Well, for the Dodgers, the rotation is absolutely what we expected it to be. The fully operational Death Star is here now that every pitcher is healthy. Kershaw has turned back the clock and been fantastic. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he's not the Cy Yamamoto I thought he would be, but he is inarguably one of the 5 best pitchers in the National League this year. Blake Snell, I didn't like the signing. I don't agree with his philosophy when it comes to pitchings, but goddamn is it effective. Snell looked great coming off his injury. You got Clayton Kershaw somehow turning back time and being a fantastic pitcher still. He's not a strikeout guy anymore. He's a weak contact guy. And guess what? It's working out for him. Phenomenal season from him. Tyler Glasnow. Yeah, he had his struggles beginning of the year. He's really come into his own and really looked like the ace the Dodgers traded for. And, oh yeah, Shohei Ohtani absolutely has come back in a vengeance. Yes, the ERA looks bad, but his stuff is playing phenomenally. The command is getting there. And he's starting to mix his pitches a lot better. He threw the curveball an insane amount of times. In his first win with the Dodgers, he went 5 innings on his bobblehead night, struck out 10. Yeah, he's not going to pitch in the postseason. Let's be honest here. He might be a bullpen guy for an inning or two, but Shohei Ohtani is not going to start games in October. He is far too valuable, and they have him on such a strict plan, but he's an option nonetheless. The offense is good, not great. It's very inconsistent. We know about Mookie Betts' struggles. We know how Freeman had that horrible June. So, yeah, it's kind of inconsistent. I mean, we're still running out Michael Conforto every day. There's a lot of swing and miss in this lineup. I mean, if Alex Call, one of the best contact hitters in the league, starts striking out at a very high clip when he comes to your team, I think it has to do with your team hitting philosophy here. And not to mention, we are getting players back, but, Buddy Kennedy was getting regular at-bats for this team. Alex Freeland has struggled since the San Diego series, has not lived up to the number 3 prospect billing he has in our organization. He's been good, don't get me wrong. He's just underwhelmed. So really, we're waiting on you. I mean, Haesung Kim is back. He slept on the airport floor. God bless that man. Tommy Edman is coming back, and they need these guys back in a bad, bad way here because the big 3 are phenomenal. Will Smith is getting it together. He's fighting off the allegations of second half slumper. Yes, he did have a bad August, but he has been great this year too. It's just, how's Teoscar Hernandez doing? How's Andy Pages doing? They're not doing great here. So lineup depth and consistency is something I worry about with the Dodgers. And of course, the big elephant in the room for the team is the bullpen. We do not have a closer. Blake Trinan is still working on his command. He did have a successful outing against Arizona on Sunday, but I don't really trust him to be the closer. I'd rather him be that fireman reliever he was, especially in 2024 when the team won it all. Tanner Scott is not it. He is quickly, and I don't say this lightly, he is quickly climbing the list of least favorite Dodgers of all time for me. He's not in Josh Reddick territory yet, but he's in Javi, Blown Save Garrett territory, Brandon League territory, easily because this man keeps blowing it. He thinks saves are like bubblegum, just blows it every single time, man. It's frustrating to watch. But Aside from the Tanner Scott problem, Kirby Yates has not been great this year. Kasperius has been very inconsistent. Anthony Bonda has not been himself. You're looking at other arms like Vesia's had a rough stretch, but he's starting to get it going. He is now injured. Kopech is injured. Jack Dreyer is somehow the third best arm in our bullpen. What a timeline we live in here, man. So really, it's just hard for this Dodgers team to hold on to a lead. And hopefully that's not about the division, because this Padres team is very, very good in their own right. Is lineup depth? Yes, I know Ramon Laureano has been very, very good for them. And Ryan O'Hearn has given them that much needed lineup depth. But, Jackson Merrill has been a league average hitter if you look at OPS+. The outfield is still a little bit of a question mark here. Tatis and Machado have not really... They're good players. I don't want to say they're bad players. I can't negatively slander the Padres, especially wearing this. You wish you won that, by the way. Without, just seeming like I hate the team. But really, their ceiling's up here, and they're kind of here. So they're kind of underperforming. The offense is good, again, not great. Same thing with the Dodgers. I'll call it a push. The rotation, on the other hand, it's Nick Pivetta, a hope and a prayer, man. Is Yu Darvish has not been good this year. Dylan Cease is striking out batters incredibly well. And yes, you can say, his StatCast numbers and his expected ERA and all that. I understand that. However, this is a results-based league. And Dylan Cease is not getting results for the Padres here. Let's be perfectly honest. Now, that's okay. You have Michael King, except he is getting injured constantly too. So what's your problem here? Really, they just do not have that good of a rotation. And the super bullpen they built is still great, don't get me wrong. Mason Miller, yeah, he's kind of been a little shaky, but, he's great. Robert Suarez is phenomenal when he doesn't have to pitch against the Dodgers. Same thing with Adrian Morejon. I had to say it. However, they just got dealt a big, big blow with the Jason Adams injury. I hope the best for him because he is a phenomenal pitcher. But, yeah, it is a huge blow to this bullpen. And overall, just looking at the two teams, it's very clear the Dodgers are going to win the West here. Is they have the tools to succeed, and especially after the Jason Adam injury, I just don't see it happening for San Diego. I don't think they can really overcome this 2-game deficit, even though they do technically have an easier schedule. I just don't see it. The San Diego Padres will be playing in what I like to call the San Diego Padres Invitational, also known as the Wildcard Series. Now, the AL West is somehow even crazier because Houston, Seattle, and Texas are all within 4 games of each other, and these teams cannot get out of their own damn way, man. Let's start with Houston. Houston is very good, don't get me wrong. The offense is okay. The rotation is good. The bullpen is good. It's just, they don't have that Astros allure like they once did. Valdez and Hunter Brown are a very good 1-2, but after that, it's okay. Brian Abreu and Josh Hader are 2 dogs in the back of that bullpen. But after that, it's just okay. The lineup, Correa has been great since coming back to Houston, don't get me wrong. But Cam Smith has fallen off a cliff in the second half here. Yordan, yes, I understand he is back, but he is not hitting like Yordan Alvarez. Christian Walker has been a huge, huge disappointment. And that really hurts me because Christian Walker loves hurting me and my Dodgers. And Houston, they don't do anything bad, but they don't do anything exceptional either. They have a great 1-2 in their rotation and their bullpen. It's the depth behind it that's the problem. Same thing with the lineup. Jeremy Pena has been a great hitter this year. Jose Altuve is Jose Altuve. But after that, it's just a lot of nothing there. So they're just being carried by high-end talent. But, they still are the favorites to win the division for a reason because they've been there before. They've done it so many times. 10 years at this point. Yeah, Houston is a team not to be trifled with. But Seattle, they're weird. I see all the coverage the Mariners, they're so good. Their pitching staff is phenomenal. Let's stop this, okay? On paper, this pitching staff is phenomenal. In practice, not really. Because the only pitchers in their rotation with that I can confidently say are good is Brian Wu. Everyone else has a 100 ERA plus, a 95 ERA plus. Yes, the talent is there, Logan Gilbert, Kirby, Castillo. Like, they're all great pitchers in a vacuum. The problem is they're not pitching like great pitchers here. And that's really starting to be frustrating as someone who like loves the Mariners as like his second favorite team, as blasphemous it is to say. Like, they're good. I just want to see them like be great. And they're just average. And that's really the frustrating part, is like the talent's there, but they're not delivering on the talent. The offense, on the other hand, my God, is great. And that's including the fact that, Eugenio Suarez has not been, Eugenio Suarez since coming to the Mariners. But, Julio's been great. Randy has been great. Josh Naylor has really added the depth to this lineup they desperately needed. J.P. Crawford is great. Jorge Polanco is somehow being an above-average hitter this year. So really, the Mariners are kind of sneaky in that way. Is if this rotation lives up to the hype, they are absolutely the best team in the American League. They just need them to do it, man. Like, especially because, the bullpen, yes, is very top-heavy with Andres Munoz and Matt Brash, who, by the way, is arguably my favorite reliever in baseball. I love Matt Brash so much. But these guys cannot carry it alone, especially if, they have to pick up the slack carried by the rotation. The Mariners, I don't necessarily see it. And Texas, you need to get your shit together, man. I put you in here out of courtesy because I picked you to win the AL pennant this year, and you guys have been utterly disappointing. You guys have got that Mariners thing going on. Like, the offense was supposed to be great. The pitching was supposed to be mediocre. Turns out the offense is mediocre and the pitching is great. And yes, I understand Eovaldi is out for the year, and he was having an all-time season on a rate basis, not on an innings basis. But, Jacob deGrom is back. You have tremendous depth with Tyler Mahle in this rotation. Like, they're all pitching so damn well. But you can't score any fucking runs here. And it's getting really problematic, too, because Seager was heating up and on a tear. He's going to be out for a little bit. He's not out for the season. I want to make that very clear. But that appendectomy he just went under, ooh, that is huge, especially with the fact that, you did not get a bat at the deadline. Jock Peterson's been playing better, but, Adolis Garcia is still underperforming. Jonah Heim's still underperforming. Evan Carter is still very good. I already mentioned Adolis Garcia. But, all these players you expected to be good are not. And Josh Smith, his Linsanity run is over. Josh Young, Linsanity run is over. So really, just get your shit together on offense, and you would be a great team. I just don't see it, especially because if Marcus Semien is the bat you're relying on at this point, you're in trouble, man. So who's winning out there? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Seattle. Is Houston just, again, they have the very great high-end production, just they don't have the depth behind it. Whereas Seattle, what everyone should be. And I think Logan Gilbert, if he takes that step up, and Castillo, like one of these people is talented enough to complement Brian Wu. And if they do that, Seattle has just enough juice in the tank to overtake Houston. And besides, come on, you want to see the Mariners with home field advantage in the playoffs. That atmosphere in 2022 was electric, and I want at least 2 games of that this postseason. Now, speaking of the postseason, I'm going to talk about 2 storylines that can really affect the postseason, especially in the National League here. And we're going to start here with the Philadelphia Phillies and their playoff rotation. Unfortunately, Zach Wheeler had to miss the rest of the year with his blood clots. We're hoping for the best here. We really like Zach Wheeler and we want him to succeed. It's just a devastating blow for Philadelphia here. So really, you have Christopher Sanchez, who has been phenomenal here. Just looking at the second half stats here, because this is going to make sense in a second. He's thrown 61 2/3 innings with a 2.77 ERA, a 9.49 strikeouts per 9, 1.75 walks per 9, zero point 0.4 home runs per 9, and a 2.23 FIP. Christopher Sanchez, maybe the most underrated player in the league right now. I don't see people giving him love or his flowers, but very clearly I think he's going to finish second behind Paul Skeens in NL Cy Young voting. I don't think it's much of a debate. He has been that good this year. And then after that, this is where it gets a little bit difficult because, Taijuan Walker has a 3.74 ERA and a 5.11 FIP. Not necessarily what you want as a playoff number 2. Has Jesus Luzardo, 3.86 ERA, 3.61 FIP. good, not great, especially because, he does have a bit of a homer problem. And you're playing in Citizens Bank Park, so good luck with that. And then Ranger Suarez, you know, like the results ERA wise have not been there. 4.50 ERA, but a 3.09 FIP is encouraging. So what shape does this rotation take? Because guess what? You're paying Aaron Nola all this money. Aaron Nola is going to be involved in some way, even though he has been a hot ass this year. He has not been good whatsoever. So yeah, it's going to be quite the struggle to fill out that rotation behind Sanchez. And that really was supposed to be their strength, is if you looked at Wheeler, Sanchez, Suarez, and then maybe you do Aaron Nola or Jesus Luzardo, that looks like a good playoff rotation. That is a rotation I do not want to face. And, I have fucking Tyler Glasnow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Blake Snell. And that rotation terrifies me. But really, if you don't have a true ace, which Wheeler is, and I'm not saying that Sanchez isn't, but, Sanchez is, Batman, and Wheeler is Superman. They are both great heroes, and they work perfectly together. Unfortunately, Batman doesn't have a Robin anymore. He doesn't even have a Dick Grayson. He barely has an Alfred. So really, look at these Philly starts aside from Christopher Sanchez. See who's got good stuff, who's locating it, who's getting the best results, who's pitching deep into games. Because I did pick the Phillies to come out of the National League, but I don't think so anymore because this looks very, very concerning. And for the last story we're talking about here, I think it's only right that we mention the Milwaukee Brewers. They are head and shoulders the best team in baseball. They are doing everything right from an organization standpoint. However, we say that most every year, is the Brewers look so good, is this Milwaukee's year. And without fail, they choke, they lose, however you want to say it, they lose in the playoffs. And that's because I have what I call like my little formula, my little secret sauce as it was to winning the World Series. And that's getting 6 innings from your starters and hitting home runs. How does Milwaukee doing in that regard? Well, in terms of home runs, if you look at their offense, like it's a good offense. They're 8th in team WRC plus. They have a top 10 walk rate and a bottom 10 strikeout rate. That's exactly what you want to hear. And then if you look at it, they're 19th in team home runs, which not really going to cut it in October. And they're dead on average, 16 out of 30 teams in home run to fly ball rate. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit hard for Milwaukee here to succeed because that's not who they are as a team. And the really problematic thing is they're 4th in team ground ball rate. And I understand, you have a lot of speed on this roster with Bryce Terang and Jackson Chourio. But, ground balls are the enemy of your team, especially in the playoffs. I don't care how fast you guys are. You got to be able to lift the ball. You got to be able to put it in the seats because you do not get a lot of opportunities to play small ball and just go for it. The pitchers are too damn good in the playoffs. So I want to see them start to hit a little more home runs, drive the ball more, put it in the air. If they can do that, I could take them more seriously as a contender in October. Yeah, so starting pitching, I think is very important in the playoffs. Again, you got to get 6 innings out of your starters. Yes, I understood the Dodgers just won a World Series with the famous bullpen dogs. But, you still have to get 6 innings out of your starters. There's a reason I didn't pick this team to win the World Series. There's a reason why I picked Texas to go far in 23. A reason why I picked Philadelphia to go far in 2022. It's because you need a good, dependable rotation. I'm not saying this Brewers rotation is bad by any means. They are 4th in team ERA and 10th in team FIP as a rotation. Quinn Priester is a dog since coming back to him. You know how good Freddie Peralta is. Brandon Woodruff has been absolutely a good number 2 since he's come back from shoulder surgery. They are a good rotation here. They just don't pitch dipping games, They are 16th in innings from their starters, which again is good. It's average. But you need, 6. They're getting 5. They got to get those extra 3 outs here. And I don't really necessarily trust Pat Murphy to trust his starters to go out that way. The bullpen, don't get me wrong, is phenomenal. Top 10 in ERA, top 10 in FIP, is Abner Uribe, dog, .82 ERA in the second half this year. Tobias Myers, even better somehow, because he's got a 168 ERA, which, yes, it's technically double what Uribe's is, but Uribe's got a 3 FIP. Tobias Myers, 1.62. Trevor McGill, yes, he blew a couple saves, like 3 in a row, I think, at one point. But he's also been a very solid closer, not to mention the army of arms they can throw at you at this point. Is Milwaukee, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're a bad team. I'm just saying they're not a team built to win in October. So what you got to look out for if you're watching Brewers baseball is Freddie Peralta going 6? Is Quinn Priester going 6? Is Brandon, or maybe not Brandon Woodruff because they're being cautious with him and his shoulder. But, are they getting 6 innings from their starters? I didn't even mention Jacob Mizorowski. What the hell is wrong with me? Are they getting 6 from Miz as well, Because, Peralta, Mizorowski, Woodruff, Priester, yeah, that's a fantastic playoff rotation supported by a good bullpen. It's just, we need Yelich to hit home runs here. We need Rhys Hoskins to hit home runs. We need Andrew Vaughn to hit home runs here. I understand, that's not Bryce Turang's game, nor am I asking that to be his game here. I understand that's not the game of a lot of hitters in this lineup. But you got to have the big boppers in your lineup do damage here. And if they're not going to do it, it's unfortunately going to be yet another October heartbreak for the Brewers. And I just want this team to win their first World Series. Actually, no, I don't. I want my team to repeat. But if it's not my Dodgers, I want it to be the Brewers. God damn it. But let me know in the comments down below. Who are you picking for AL Cy Young? Am I overblowing the Brewers' chances of collapse in the playoffs? And who's going to be number 2 behind Christopher Sanchez in the Phillies lineup rotation? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network, and don't forget on the way out, play ball.